You know that feeling, right? You see someone you'd love to talk to, but boom, that invisible wall just slams down. Your stomach does a little flip, and that voice in your head goes, nope, not yet. It happens to pretty much everyone. But what if I told you that getting past it isn't about being brave? It's actually a skill. And today, we're going to break down exactly how you can learn it.
For years, I was stuck on the sidelines. I'd watch other people start the exact conversations I wanted to be having. And I told myself this story, that I just wasn't one of those people, that it wasn't in my personality. And you know what? That one idea was the most expensive lie I ever believed. It cost me so many chances to connect. And that's what I call the confidence lie. It's this idea that's everywhere, that confidence is some kind of gene you're either born with or you're not. We look at people who seem to just glide through social situations, and we just assume they're just naturals. And here's the kind of stuff we tell ourselves, that those people are just built differently, that they don't get that gut-wrenching moment of hesitation or fear. We just chalk it all up to personality, deciding that confidence is this thing you either have or you don't. And that's the belief that keeps us glued to the wall. Okay, but here is the absolute truth, and it's backed by a ton of psychology and behavioral research. Confidence is not a fixed trait. It is a behavioral pattern. And that means approaching people isn't some deep test of who you are. It's just a skill. And like any skill, you can learn it.
This right here is the whole mindset shift. The lie says confidence is a fixed trait that you have. The truth? It's a behavioral pattern, something you do. The lie makes it feel like a personality test you're about to fail. The truth shows you it's a learnable skill. This is a total game changer because it takes the power away from random luck and puts it right back in your hands.
So how do we actually learn it? Well, that's where our 4-part toolkit comes in. And these aren't just, clever little tips. These are real actionable techniques backed by psychology, and they're designed to work with your brain, not against it. So tool number 1 is called social priming. Think about it for a second. Why do so many cold approaches feel so awkward? It's because for our brains, they're jarring. The other person goes from 0 to stranger in my personal space in 1 second flat. And that can trigger this subtle feeling of being interrupted or even a little unsafe. So, how do we prime the interaction? It is so simple. Before you even think about walking over, you just make brief eye contact, and then you offer a small, natural smile. That's it. Seriously. With that one tiny action, you've already planted a little seed of familiarity and safety in their brain. And here's why that is so powerful. By the time you actually walk over to say hi, you're not a complete stranger anymore. Their brain has already scanned you and tagged you as friendly, not a threat. So the whole approach feels less like a sudden interruption and more like a continuation of something that's already begun. All right, tool number 2. Now, this one is going to sound completely backwards, but trust me, it's incredibly powerful. It's called anxiety reappraisal. Most of us burn so much energy trying to hide that we're nervous, right? Trying to act cool. But all that effort is just eating up the exact mental bandwidth we need to actually connect with someone. The strategy is basically to name it to tame it. And get this, there's research from Harvard showing that just admitting what you're feeling out loud can dramatically lessen its physical hold on you. So saying something like, I'll be honest, I almost talked myself out of coming over here, does something pretty amazing. This one little sentence has 3 huge effects. First, it just releases your own internal tension. Poof. Second, it makes you instantly human and authentic. And third, and this is the magic part, it makes the other person feel chosen, not targeted. The whole vibe just shifts away from a performance and towards a real connection. Okay, our third technique is all about a major mindset shift, leading with curiosity instead of trying to be impressive. You know that energy, right? When someone's trying really hard to impress you, it's tense, it's performative, and it puts a wall up before you've even had a chance to start. And you can really feel the difference. Trying to impress is all about you, and that just creates pressure. But leading with curiosity, that's all about the other person, and that creates connection. One feels like you're on stage, the other feels like a relaxed, genuine conversation. Shifting your goal from, let me show them how cool I am, to, I wonder who they are. Well, that changes everything. And if you remember one thing, remember this. We think we need the perfect joke, the wittiest story, the most amazing accomplishment. But the truth is, people don't fall for impressive. They fall for interested. Being genuinely curious about another person is one of the most attractive qualities you can possibly have. And now for our last tool. This one is simple, wildly underused, and honestly,
almost unfairly effective. It's the name recognition effect. Study after study shows that hearing our own name is one of the most powerful sounds in the world to us. It literally lights up the parts of our brain linked to personal connection. So once you learn their name, your only job is to use it once, and naturally. But listen, moderation is key here, right? We're not talking about peppering their name in over and over. That just gets weird and feels artificial. Just find one moment to weave it in. Like, that's a great point, Sarah. That one moment can create a level of connection that some people miss in an entire conversation.
So now you've got the toolkit, but we still have to get past that final barrier, the fear itself. And the best way to do that is to completely reframe the stakes. We spend all this time worrying about what might go wrong if we go say hi, but we almost never stop to think about what we are guaranteed to lose when we don't.
So let me just ask you this. What actually has a bigger, more lasting impact on you? A few seconds of feeling a little awkward walking over and saying hello, or that nagging feeling of a missed opportunity that can stick with you for days?
Because that is the real choice you're making. On one side, you've got action, a couple moments of discomfort that will probably lead to a totally neutral, maybe even positive outcome. And on the other side, inaction, this certainty of replaying that missed chance in your head over and over. When you look at it that way, the cost of doing nothing is almost always higher.
In the end, the approach itself isn't really the scary part. The regret is. A conversation might last 5 minutes, but that what if? That can last a lifetime. A brief moment of discomfort is such a tiny price to pay to prevent that feeling. And that choice, as always, is yours.